So what I've learned about some reality shows is each character has their own producer, right?
Okay.
So that producer is supposed to help encourage to share certain things about their lives.
Yeah.
Supposed to convince them, like, what part of this your life do you want to expose? Why are you not exposing this part? Why are you not? And here's what you should do. This is to help to build your storyline.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Aunties podcast, and I am Joe.
I'm Key.
And I'm Jay, where we keep it real,
Raw,
and relatable,
while sharing our experiences
and opinions
and feelings.
Well, no, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that.
So, ladies, what are we talking about today?
Would you ever entertain reality TV? First, before you answer, though, we're going to break this down on what it entails.
Okay.
So, reality TV depends on your personal preferences. Some people find it entertaining due to its drama, competition, or unique situations that may arise, while others may not resonate with the format. If you enjoy unscripted content, character dynamics, or social experiments, you might find certain reality shows appealing, and it could be worth trying a few different types to see which one catches your interest.
Okay.
I would challenge it. Is it really unscripted?
I was thinking that too. Some of it is scripted.
They're all scripted. I'm sorry.
A lot of them do have the scripts. Yeah.
Well, so talk about reality. If you go back to the first original reality show, The Real World, or what we thought was the first.
Okay.
The actual real, if you want to say, and this had to be unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
Candid Camera.
Oh wow, you're taking it back.
No, I got one further, but that's in my fun fact.
Okay.
Wow.
Go further back than Candid Camera, because I didn't know if there was another one.
Oh, we're going back 2 years after I was born.
What was it?
Well, wait, let's wait for that.
That's my fun fact.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I must have her fun fact.
Yes,
Right. Okay.
But
So go ahead.
no. I was gonna just say I just challenged today.
Today's a lot of the scripted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first, I guess answer the question: would you even entertain it?
Aren't we entertaining it now?
To a certain degree, one could look at podcasts as its reality. If you,
Because we haven't gone live yet, so it's That's how I'm looking. It's
And I'm TV not live either. So
what's that one?
reality TV is not live. It's taped
No,
too,
it's
and
taped
edited.
too.
So what I'm thinking of as a whole, not just us, but when you think of podcasting, it's to some degrees there's some elements of reality in it for sure.
Mhm.
So I guess, and then for certain podcasts, there could be a lot of drama.
Mhm.
They specifically ask questions to invoke the emotion
Mhm.
and talk about craziness, right?
Mhm.
So there's elements in which those characteristics are in reality TV as well.
Mhm.
But I think this is, a little bit different because it's 30 minutes to an hour. And I'm just talking about like podcasting, not just us.
Mhm.
Well, let's say 30 minutes to 2 hours because some podcasts go long.
Long, yes.
But you're not in the person's home. In many cases, right?
you're not being followed.
You're not being followed
Yeah.
around. You have you can
Not being asked questions by producers, because they have. So what I've learned about some reality shows is you have a producer.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So each character has their own producer, right?
Okay.
So that producer is supposed to help encourage their, I guess, manager, for lack of a better description,
Mhm.
to share certain things about their lives.
Yeah.
Supposed to convince them, like, what part of this your life do you want to expose? Why are you not exposing this part? Why are you not? And here's what you should do. This is to help to build your storyline.
Yes.
So we don't have that.
No, I know. This is like the introduction to. That's how I'm looking at it.
No one's following us around saying,
But we're still sharing experiences of our lives.
"True, I understand what you're
and
saying.
opening
I
up,
understand.
even vulnerable like I did
Yeah,
before
I understand.
to the world. So
Yeah.
I get.
I know it's not true reality,
But
but
we real. Like, they not real.
Yeah, some of them, yeah, because it's some of them, some of it is fake, and
Yeah.
some of it is like there's always think about it. In TV, this is a little bit different, but in TV, always going to have, like a show, is always going to be like a protagonist, right? Someone that's going to be like, all right, and I guess maybe I'm the person. I'm always asking those crazy questions. I'm not evil, but
not evil. You have to have the villain to do the trouble.
Can't be all good. Can't be all good because that's what people get lured into.
Yeah.
So I just think that sometimes a lot of that, even in reality TV, unless it's like, and I can't even say it, even if it's like a home improvement show, the protagonist may not be the villain, but maybe they're always going to show something that could went wrong.
It's something always.
Yeah,
like everything could look great. Oh, we can do this, we can do that, and then this thing happened.
You know what I mean? So because that's what keeps people engaged, like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Yes.
But at least we get to control how that goes.
You get to control as much as you want.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and some of this is really just a stepping stone for some of these people, because look how many people have born what their true passion is. On reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did something.
They're promoting their businesses, and
I ain't mad at it.
other than me either. But they garnered other careers out of it. Some gone on to acting, some gone, to music and all that kind of stuff. So,
and some people don't do nothing.
Yeah. And some of it is fake. Some of it, I remember listening to somebody on another podcast where they were saying specifically, and this could be in other franchises, but like the Atlanta franchises of these reality shows, that these people they ain't living like what they say they living like.
Yeah, I think there's a group of them that aren't. I think there's a group of them that do
have it going on.
They got their own motion.
Yeah.
Right. And some of those
they move in silence.
Right. And some of them no longer on the show, but have always had their own motion. And I think there's some that it's like, you didn't really, cut the mustard.
Right.
But listen, I think to your point, it is a stepping stone to do other things. When you have an opportunity to do something like that, you have to maximize it and try to, I also, where I get caught up in is like, when you think about the reality shows, whether it's the Real Housewives franchise, whether it's the Love and Hip Hop franchise, I'm trying to think, like going down, even selling Tampa or selling this or selling that, most of the time, all the women look the same. And what I mean by that, they have the same, not visibly, they just have the same characteristics in terms of what they wear, what their hair is like, what is this,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of people that may have debunked that, but most of them, the majority of the women, they wear their hair, they have the lace fronts, they have their wigs.
I probably see it more on the black sides, the black versions.
Even some of the white women, they all got listen, let's speak. They wear their hair.
Also, I know they wear hair,
but they got their
I think it's the fillers, the legulars,
everybody has like the same thing, and what it lacks is
versatility
and individuality.
Individuality, yes.
Because guess what? Being individual, being different, that ain't selling.
I think,
and that's
the Housewives of Potomac. Not all the ladies there.
But she's gone. Which one? Because you're talking about my home, Monique?
The one that was married to the
football player?
White dude. Where she had the 2 kids.
So she's a singer now.
Ashley.
No way.
Is it Ashley? Yes.
Ashley was married. She was yes.
Well,
yes.
So she's married to the
when you say up to her authentic, she used her natural hair.
She didn't. You're right. She did.
It was good. They all get their boobs done.
Yeah,
I said not.
Yeah, she.
Not to good.
I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying, to me, like, listen, the show does what the show is gonna do.
Yeah,
we watch it. I'm not an avid watcher as I used to be, but we. Sometimes it is entertaining. But yeah, Ashley, she did. And then Monique, the one that was married to the football player, who has the kids by him, she wears her locks. But I think she did that after the show. But most of the time, let's remove
I
Potomac.
guess that's why I gravitated to Potomac.
Because there's a little bit more individuality there.
And a variety of age.
Exactly. You know what? You're right in that. But most of the other ones, they all got, it's cookie cutter.
See, I never really watched Housewives of Atlanta. I think I watched a few episodes, and that was only because I was at Bree's house.
Okay.
Other than I never got into the show.
Yeah.
And Love and Hip Hop, I've done that a few times, but then once
Once they left New York, I was.
What's his Barnes' wife?
They started in New York.
Left the show. I stopped watching it. But other than that, I didn't.
So
it wasn't in New York, or was it in?
I think it started in New York. I think so. It would make sense. It's hip hop. Sorry, New York. Hip hop. No, but I mean, to me, there's a lot of them. But you're right. Potomac is a little different. But a lot of them lack individuality. It's like you're getting the same thing. Like, what am I getting from this show versus that? I already know the
crux of it is gonna be you're gonna have people promoting their business or they're talking about their husbands or lack thereof. It's interesting surrounded around their kids.
Yeah,
there's always gonna be someone that's gonna be a troublemaker. What they call the bone collector, carrying all the freaking bones around and stuff up.
Yeah, that's because they turned it into that.
It's always been, though, I feel.
And that was why I never gravitated to reality TV. Because if you have the platform and the opportunity, this should be your time to promote your businesses and things like that. But instead,
some of them don't.
And which some of them do, but then there's still a lot of negativity in terms of the gossip and tearing each other down to keep the ratings going. And I never was an advocate for that.
I'm trying to think, well, so here's the thing, because that's what sells, right? So when I try to, even though that's one of the reasons why I don't like watch it all the time. At some point it gets tight. Like you already know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
You may not know specifically that this person's gonna do this and that, but you know it rises this and it goes up the hill. Boom, they're gonna fight. And then remember the joint, the Mob Wives. We used to get a kick out of that shit.
Yeah.
That the Mob Wives, right? So all of that was entertaining.
Yeah.
So you know it's gonna go up. It's a crescendo. Then it's gonna come. It's like a roller coaster. So you know it's gonna happen. So at some point it's like, you know, what am I doing?
What used to also get me on these shows are the double standards, because they would say, scripted or not scripted, you could do this week, but let the next person do it is not going to go. It's not going to fly.
Yeah.
Like, and it be the same person that did it. Like, you know, or said something about it, but then you go and do it yourself. And so
that's why I said it got to a point where you're tearing each other down. If this is a platform, you've been given an opportunity to go on TV. Find some constructive stuff to use. Not to sit here and find God.
You know that.
Yeah, well, then
you know what I'm saying? And
they need the drama. The drama is what get people to watch, is what get the viewership, because when they don't have, I think there was one season, one of them was kind of dull, and they was like, oh, they're not even bringing the stuff, so they're not even gonna survive. They're not gonna last. They're gonna
But then that goes back to how they want, especially where the Black reality shows are, how they want to portray the Black
woman
culture and the Black woman.
Like,
and that's why I never gravitated to it. I didn't like it.
So I have some that I stopped watching. I have some that I still do watch. Like, Married to Medicine was one of them that I watched. Right?
I hated that show.
I actually,
because all they did was fight in the
No, not really. This year was the first year that things got actually physical on that show.
Really?
This season, I've never really seen. Well, let me take that back. That's a lie. Let me take that back. Early on, there was some, but not as much as you saw on some of the other ones. What I liked about it was to see the different professionals. I like what they did in the communities, and some of they used to do stuff, and they used to do community stuff, about health and stuff like that. Now, the one person that's been a troublemaker from the time she's been on it, she's still a troublemaker to today. She's not going to change who she is. But this year was like, I was just taken aback by all of the fighting.
I never watched,
because these are college-educated people.
Exactly.
Professionals.
Yes.
That are still practicing today in their businesses. You know, these are doctors.
Even the other show, I think I might have gotten them confused, but it's the women, the housewives of the doctors. So now you've been given a platform. Your husband is out there. He made the money.
Well, the men and the women are doctors. So some of the men are doctors.
That's my. It's
medicine. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just the husbands.
No.
Some of them are doctors. Yeah.
But in the beginning, when they were promoting that show, all you saw was the negative side of it. And my whole thing is, how could you be given this platform? And this is how you win that acting in the community.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, it was the wives of the male doctors that was acting up. But there are some female doctors on the show too. And their husbands don't act the way the wives do. So I get what you're saying. But so it was one of the shows that I did still kind of watch, because I felt like what they was bringing to the table outside of the nonsense was some good stuff, you know? So to go back to the question, would you ever entertain reality TV? And if so, what would need to change?
It's not something that is on my goal list.
Because we always thought your family should do a show.
No, I mean, listen.
Y'all could.
We would joke around about it. We did joke around about it, right? But I also feel like it's not going to be what you see out there.
Right.
Okay.
Because, and which then doesn't really sell. Is it? You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be, you're not going to have all that. Will you get laughter? Yes. Will you get, a little bit of drama? Perhaps. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to be like that.
I think it's so. Because of the comedy in itself.
Yeah.
But
I think it would have sold.
That's not necessarily because DeVal.
Yes, but
his is very positive. You don't see negativity at all in his.
But here's the thing. This is where my hesitancy is. Mm-hmm. He's not necessarily. He's on TV. He puts him and his wife go on YouTube, and they've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
But with that comes responsibility, and with that comes your ability to make sure you have the boundaries in place, which I think they've done a pretty decent job up until they've done a good job, and he definitely draws the line, and she will draw the line too. But you also have to be in a space where, even though you have boundaries, people will try to overstep those boundaries.
Yes.
So for me, because I can be diplomatic. There comes a point where I may, you cross the line, and then it's gonna get real good. People go, I'm gonna get some good ratings. You know what I'm saying? So because I'm not gonna hold my, at some point you have to really step away. But if you cross the line too much for me, that's why I'm always a little bit hesitant. So like I post and stuff online. And yeah, then even my family, we joked around about the doing reality, but in our own like YouTube type thing.
Yeah.
But I also know that how much do you want to put yourself out there, because it comes with a lot of responsibility, and I just don't know that I want to do all of that. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows?
Public exposure now. You really open.
I don't want to do all of that. So because I also know that I'm not. People get media training and all that stuff, but at some point I can have all the training in the world. And then listen, let's be clear. I know when I shouldn't say things, but if you push me too much, I'm gonna push back. And I don't give a damn about no media training, because sometimes the audience, they feel like they're entitled.
Yeah.
And that's where we go wrong, especially in social media. They feel like if you put yourself out there, they're entitled to, well, what happened? What happened to this? And you got to tell, I don't have to tell you anything. And they forget they're human.
And that's what they go. It's like, as the question I had is reality TV versus real life. What's the price of fame? And is it worth it? Like, so when you think about that, is it really worth me putting my family out there like that, exposing our family in that way?
Yeah.
Not to say we got stuff that could get us in.
No bombs and none, but it's just little things. People create.
Exactly.
They make up stuff.
Exactly.
And then that becomes...
It has an impact on
you. Now you could ignore it. Now there's you can ignore up to a point, but at some point, it's like you gotta clap back to let them know. Unless you get to the point where you're like Beyonce says, like, she's great. She don't say nothing.
Where Rihanna be coming with the...
Rihanna would be like, what? Pop, 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 right in your head. You know what I mean? So, real talk. She'll clap back.
That accent come out real good.
She don't play no games. And she'll call you, she'll clap back and be like, and you look at you,
Yeah.
So that I err on that side.
Yeah.
I err on that side.
And I say I would be also.
The one thing about reality TV, what I would say, you always know when a new show is about to drop. If you ever be on social media, all of a sudden they stirring up shit. And I think that's all part of the marketing.
Yes. Yeah.
They start stirring. All of a sudden, you see something on Spiritual World or the neighborhood talk.
Yeah.
And they talking about somebody. Somebody says this. And to me, it's all fake. I don't care what anybody says. I don't believe it.
So let me ask you a question. So have you guys been following the recent stuff that's going on with the Breakfast Club?
Yes.
So do you think that...
Wait, I answered.
Okay. So... What I learned and what I knew, and I was having kind of the questions myself, right? So, Jess eventually got hired after being a guest for a couple of...
Yeah, I know that part.
Went on maternity leave. The producer, Lauren, she's a producer technically, but she does have journalism background because she worked on TMZ, set in.
Okay.
Jess was on maternity leave at what Jess says was of her choosing, or advocating for her to sit in her seat while she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And when she came back, they had this plan, whatever their plan was. I don't know what the whole plan was, but the plan was not for Lauren to be a fourth seat when Jess got back.
Okay.
So it turns out some pot was being stirred. Jess called it, what she called the damn high school from with Kisa High, right? But the moral of the story is like now there's a quote unquote, I guess, fourth person, which is Lauren. So and then Jess went on live, and then they talked about it on the Breakfast Club the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that was all stage, or is that some real shit?
I would have to see it all for myself and look at the players and see how it was said, what was said, for me to come to that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can get her live. You can get it all.
Yeah, now that I know it's happening, I'll go and check it out.
I think there's a couple. I think there's it was some real stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Jess did feel a certain type of way.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think that perhaps things were not explained to her, and the communication was off.
I thought people didn't keep their commitments.
Maybe they didn't keep their commitments, but the communication was off.
Based on how you said it, that's how
I do feel that way. And I also think that because she, her baby's only 6-7 months, I think that she still her postpartum, that hormones is still there.
She's very emotional.
She's emotional, so I think that plays a part in how her reaction to certain things.
Yeah. And the people in the comments ain't helping, because stirring it up. Yeah, because they just saying, oh, it's just fired. I never ever got the impression that she was fired.
No, I never got that
impression.
Either.
But it was questioned, like, what happened? Why is this person? Because they never made an introduction. They made an introduction way after. Like, she finally got her promo, Lauren with the, whatever it is, I forget what her segment is now. But it came way after she was sitting in that fourth seat for a while.
Yeah, I don't think it was handled right.
Where Jess was introducing Jess with the mess, and then she was telling the story.
Yeah, it wasn't handled right.
Yeah.
And even
it wasn't looking right. So.
It wasn't looking right. It wasn't handled right.
Yeah.
And I thought even it was a little bit weird even before they had the big debacle. Right.
Okay.
So I think that could have been handled better. Now, the fact that she went live, that's one thing, but that might have forced their hand to actually discuss it on the show. I think that had she not went live, they probably wouldn't have been privy to all of that.
Yeah. And things might would have blown up even worse
than the way it was.
Yeah. Unless they had the behind the scenes conversation.
But it sounded like they had a couple. That's what
that is. They had a couple, but things wasn't landing right.
And they were trying to say Charlamagne was stirring the pot and this, that, and the other. I don't know.
What tell you? Men got something.
He supposedly told just to tell Laura to shut up.
Yeah, yeah.
But you doesn't know. Like, yes. See, to me,
I had it.
George, shut up.
So apparently there was a previous show where Lauren may have been over talking Jess.
Okay.
And she told her to hush or shut up or whatever.
Like hush up
or whatever. So then on the side, she said shut. I think she might have said shut the first time.
No, I think she said hush the first time.
And then what? Yeah. And then he texted her and said, no, you could tell her shut up or whatever. But I think too. So yes, it's wrong. But I also think he also knows what makes for good radio. Like, by them, the banter,
that them two, Charlamagne and Jess always throwing back.
They go back, but even with her, that's gonna get people to tune in. Let's go. Like, I bet you right now, the ratings that they got for that next day after she went live, that shit went. You know what I mean? So it's about going back to reality TV, making it the drama.
Yes.
This to bring them in. Do I feel like there's room for all four of them? Yes. Do I feel like there was a lot of miscommunication or people not handling communication like they should have? Yes. Do I think she has postpartum? Yes. Do I think? I mean, there's a lot of different variables that could be. Yeah. So I don't know that it was staged, except for the fact that they probably we didn't need to be a part of that meeting.
The conversation they had on the episode of that day.
So considering the history of how reality TV is, and a lot of that stuff is staged and is played to the T, is there a possibility that all of this could have been staged? Like it was planned out from the time she came out and said she was pregnant? How we were going to play it out when
she was already pregnant when she got hired.
No, and I get that. So I guess if you have good producers, is there a possibility that all of this could have played out?
You never know.
Exactly the way
we'll never know. You never know. Maybe. I wouldn't. Listen, that sounds like far-fetched, but I don't have nothing because weird people be doing some weird meetings. People be doing, but in looking at her face, I kind of feel like just to some realness.
Today.
Yeah, she was hurt.
Crying on, like,
yeah, she was hurt. So I do feel like it was so. And another thing, what it made me, and I was discussing with my husband. This reminds me of she's young, she's in her 30s. She never really did corporate America, but the way they might have done her in that here, that to me reeked of corporate America. This is how they do Black women, and pitting Black women against each other. I've seen it a million times, right? So when I heard it and I was listening to her live, and it's just seeing like some things you could tell she was so hurt that she was missing the points that were actually some valid points. I was like, hey, hang on, we did say this to you, you missed it. Because sometimes you only hear what you want to hear because you're upset. But still, I still think they didn't handle it. It could have been handled better. Yeah, that's all, So that's my take on that. Yeah, I just think, listen, there's a fine line between entertainment and exploitation. And I think that a lot of times we exploit ourselves because we go on those TV shows and act the fool, fighting and throwing stuff and carrying on like crazy. I just seen a clip of Eleven Lozada. It just came across my timeline like, I think it was last night. It was an old one. And honestly, I never seen it before. And I just go, because I wasn't watching it. She did.
What's the table?
No, I saw that one. When she was there, they were at a pool and she was cursing out somebody. It might have been some lady named OG. I don't even know them people.
You talking about Evelyn from...
Yes. Oh, that chick is... I back. And she would... It was old, and somebody had posted it and was just like, I wonder if she sees this now, would she be embarrassed? So I looked at it and I was like, oh, whoa. And all she was doing, she was they were at a pool and she was popping her thing and cursing the lady out. And I don't know what she was saying, but she... yeah, she was... Yeah, it was something. So you wonder, listen, she got her checks. She did whatever she needed to do. But... can you be proud of it? I mean, I don't want to do nothing that I can't look back 10 years from now and be like, yeah, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Because that kind of is like, oof.
I don't think she would have regretted what happened on that show. Not at all.
Yeah. You don't think that she would say, no, okay. I mean, I don't know her for a can of paint, but, I just feel...
She was one of those that was, anytime something was about to pop off, she was that quiet before the storm. You go ahead, keep running your mouth. Nice and silent and quiet, and all of a sudden, totally from left.
So that makes me ask, if you were in a reality show, would you be the one, the voice of reason, or the one out there flipping them tables?
I'd be the one flipping the tables. I already know. And there ain't no way of thinking. That's why I'm very cautious about. I don't think I could do reality TV. I couldn't do it. It's too much exposure, and at some point, somebody's going to try you. And it ain't but so many times I'm just going to bite my tongue because I'm trying to keep the money flowing. Then I'm going to let you get away with too much. So I'm going to be that first one to snap off.
Yeah, it's dumb. I would try to be the voice of reason, but the ones that are voice of reason, they don't last. They're boring. You see what I'm saying? You're like, you have to have spice. I don't care. Like, think about it. Even Cynthia.
Yeah, because she was, and then she tried to have the spice.
Because it wasn't that's the person. It's not her personality. But then they said she was dry. You see, you got to have something. Va-voom, va-voom. You cut. So that's why everybody tries to jump on and they try to talk mess about, like,
all sassy.
Yeah, immediately.
Too late. They don't
get the new ones. They try to, like, Portia's back, I think, and some new chick, as soon as Portia comes in the room, she was like...
Lord. Do you see that excitement and glare in their eyes as they're talking about?
I'm just like, do a little research for that. When so I had to do a little research. I don't really watch it that often. It's been a long time. So when she comes back and some new girl, I don't know her name. And it's not to minimize the girl because, I just know Portia because she's been on it before. She's an OG. But the girl came, and as soon as Portia walks in, she was like, why you took that lady husband? It's like, immediately. So, you get what I'm saying? So, it's like, you have to go.
She's just tearing for her.
Because if you're not, you're going to get cut. So, they have to do these. And to me, it's like,
I don't be a nice girl because they don't want it.
And that's up.
And that's unfortunate because that's what society's out there say. They want the drama. Like, I think there's room for everybody if they're going to have these things. But it's unfortunate that nobody liked the nice girl.
You can still bring the spice without being ratchet. I'm sorry.
Niceness.
You can find other creative ways to keep the spice going. without having to be tearing down.
I agree, but that's the thing, right? So because there's so many people tearing people down.
So I think that's the other problem with it. Like, why do the cast have to be all one color? Like, why does New Jersey have to be all women of Caucasian? Why does Atlanta have to be all white women? Like Beverly Hills, is it Beverly Hills?
Yeah, they have Ghana St. John. Yeah, they have a Baz on, but yeah, she's on it. And or is it start that way?
And they tried to put the two black women on that.
Yeah, Gabrielle. Yeah, they have. Yeah.
So I think they need to have. They shouldn't all be of one race, I think.
Yeah.
But even if it's not all of one race, that just opens up a whole nother Pandora's box because you're going to have the race thing going.
Well, that happens anyway.
One thinking that they're better than the other is going to be even more wretched than what it is. Yeah.
So you know what's interesting? So about 2 years ago, I think it was, there was a show that was, I don't, forgive me because I was trying to do my research, but I didn't write this down, but it just came to me. So there was a show about real estate. So there was a real estate show, one with Chad Ojocinco's Selling Tampa. And then there's another one that's equally in Tampa, but it's with a white cast.
Okay.
I mean, it may not be in Tampa, but it's another in Florida.
It's in Florida. I know which one
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when they Breakfast Club did DJ Envy in particular, he made a comment where he said, you know what? The black show Selling Tampa, he's like, they're not even, what are they selling? Because literally on the show, he said they never closed a deal.
You never saw it. Like you saw it, you saw the brokerage house, you saw the meetings, and you saw them do open houses.
Correct.
Meet with
potential clients.
Yeah.
But nothing of a close, where he says, whereas on the white shows, they actually close the deal. So he talked about it and he got a lot of flack for that. But in reality, it's like, I blame the producers because they probably were closing deals, but you cutting it out.
She talked about that in the interview.
Yeah, because you just want to show the fighting. And whereas on the white shows, why aren't you doing that? Because they sometimes be fighting on them shows too. So I don't like that, the perception that they are portraying black women, and that like equally though these black women are signing up for, although they'll fight and say, I don't know how it's going to get edited. So it's like it's just a whole bunch.
But they should advocate for that. Because so she talked about that on an interview. I think she had with Carlos King, where the show didn't get a renewal because of whatever the ratings, whatever they were. But to Envy's point, you never seen them close a deal. You saw all the bickering, and then, but what do? She goes and creates another show, and what's happening? The same crap.
Yeah.
So she's leveraging what the people want to see with the fighting.
It's tough because when you want to make that money, you want to make the money. You want to try to
but then ask me,
what the people want. You're trying to give them what they want.
So then it begs me to ask the question: then, if you are selling, now you are doing these things, why do you need to do this over here? If your brokerage house is doing that, I get that, but at the expense of your reputation.
I agree. Because there's other real estate influencers that have jumped on. They tried to do a reality show in Atlanta with selling. And one woman that I used to follow, I still follow her, she pulled back because she was like, this is nonsense. And it's messing up my business because I do high yield, all that fight that she said, I'm out.
I think which one you were talking about, yes.
Why did they need to show them closing? Because if you're advertising that you have a business and this is the area that you're in, people could easily go look you up and see your ratings and show that you're closed.
True, but so how many people going to do it? Like we did this, but
perception, and this is perception, and also they show didn't get renewed, right?
Yeah.
So this
I know what you're saying, but
everybody
ain't gonna.
And they still have more episodes and series for this other show.
And how were they closing on the other show? Were they really showing the step by step?
Well, not just step by step, but you see the papers get signed, the contracts get the contracts get handshake.
Yeah, you showing. So the thing is less nonsense and let's show
balance it out.
Balance, you know what I mean? So that's my take on it. What are your fun facts?
A fun fact about reality TV is that the genre actually began gaining popularity in the early 2000s with shows like Survivor, which premiered in 2000, and Big Brother, which started in 2001. However, one of the earliest examples of reality television dates back to 1973 documentary series An American Family, which followed the lives of the Loud family in real time, capturing their personal struggles and dynamics. This series is often credited with being one of the first true reality shows, paving the way for many of the diverse formats we see today.
I didn't know that. I just thought it was a Real World.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was Real World in 1992 and Candid Camera in 1940. That's a lot of Candid Camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a lot of old. So those had to be replays though that we would.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinions.
Unpopular opinion. Now, this is to me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Reality stars work harder than some 9-to-5 employees.
Now hold on. No. They got listen.
They work. I'm not gonna say they don't work any harder or less harder than we do, but
that must have been a reality star who put that there.
You know what? I guess I can see it as the people that's on reality TV. There's things that you have to do because they're not spontaneous. They are script. So you got to take the acting classes. There's different things that you got to do. There's the physical aspect of trying to keep your body right. If the ones that's really interested.
Yeah, they get nipped and tucked. They get nipped and tucked. That's what. Most of the guys some of them make picture. So we're not supposed to have everybody's getting it tucked.
No.
Hey, that's okay.
It's okay if they did.
They're having the meetings and the Zoom stuff going on all the time.
I don't think I could debate it because, first of all, that's such a broad statement because a 9-to-5 could be so many different jobs. That's one, right? So who am I to say that a reality TV personality is more work than a 9-to-5?
That's a lot of snoozing.
I don't know that I can,
or that they enjoy it more than the person doing it.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could debate that. Who knows?
It's a lot of snoozing and kissing up to people and a lot of meetings and
it's things.
Yeah,
it is a lot that comes with it. It's work, So let's for sure
kissing ass.
So they say reality TV fights are more real to corporate office drama. I don't know. Drama is drama. It don't have to be physical. They be having some physical knockdown stuff on reality TV. And, watching reality TV does not make you less intelligent. Sometimes you need chaos for self-care.
What? If it gets you laughing, it takes you off.
Yeah, but it takes you away from whatever the hell you got going on.
Yeah. She said sometimes you need chaos for self-care.
Craziness to me, right?
That's nuts.
That's no different. There's somebody for about a half hour at the end of their day if they needed to laugh. TikTok.
No, for sure.
Yeah. But looking at those videos and how he's cracking up.
That's almost the same thing as reality TV. Too much of that and too much of that.
I think too much of anything is too much. But I also think if you keep looking at that stuff all the time and you're not expanding your mind, I think it messes with you. It stunts your ability to communicate effectively, those things. So too much of anything is going to mess you up. For sure.
Those are my...
She said, you need chaos for self-care. No, that's crazy. I don't need chaos for self-care. Okay, so story time. So I was interviewed for a reality TV show to participate with my friend. She had asked me to do it.
Okay.
And to be quite honest, so I went through the interview process, full stop. I was only going to do it for her. Like, it wasn't something at the time of my life. It just wasn't something that I was like feeling passionate about.
Okay.
And the fact that she wanted me to be a part of it, I was happy about it. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't something that I felt like I absolutely had to do. So I was really going to participate for her. Now, they ended up going with someone else, which is perfectly fine. And I knew kind of during the interview process, like, it's like I have to be somebody else to a certain degree. Yeah. And that's not who I am. So I just don't want to play that game. So I was fine with bowing out or being they self-selected and I'm not. Now, granted, they ended up going with somebody and then she went back. They were going to come back. But then I was just like, to me, it just didn't seem like I'd get a good ROI for me participating in something like that. So I decided not to go about it,
Okay.
Plus, there's a cost associated with it, right? So you, especially certain shows, you're responsible for all of your beauty, all your stuff. And I'm not even talking about that because to me, the glam stuff, you could do that. But what the show was for is like, I would have to, it's still money because it was around improvement, right?
Yeah.
So I just didn't feel like it would be a good ROI for me. So I was like, I'm not doing this. So yeah, it's not my bag, man. It's not my bag. And if I ever did do something like it has to be by my terms, not dictating, like me not caring what I put something out there and either you're gonna gravitate it or not. That's why the YouTube stuff is a little bit different because your audience will find you. Right? And they will like what you and they're gonna dig you and then the people that don't like you, you don't have to worry about ratings. Right. I mean, you want views and stuff like that, but your people will find you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I like that. I'm okay with that as opposed to...
You don't have to worry about going out there and making up or creating a storyline to be relevant to stressors.
Because I'm going to get kicked off. I'm not. It's not me. Not me.
Yeah.
But let us know if you guys were ever entertained to be on a reality TV.
And what would it be about?
And that. Let us know. What would it be about? We'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to like and share.
So, yeah,
thank you for tuning in.